ABC 7 continues to follow the breaking news from Minnesota. What you're looking at are live pictures right now. One is on the ground on the right side with all the tear gas. On the left, you can see that is from earlier, and you can see more structures and businesses are being burned. We know the FBI is involved in the investigation of the officers that were involved in the death of the man who was on the ground in handcuffs, and an officer had his knee on his neck. And the man, Mr. FLOYD, said he could not breathe. He said it a number of times, and then he died. And this has been the response all across the country.
And that was in D.C. less than 30 minutes ago as a fifth night of protest rages on across the country. People demanding justice for the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis, saying they are also demonstrating against systemic racism. Right now, there are curfews in effect for about a dozen U.S. cities because of these protests. Demonstrations happening in Atlanta, Los Angeles, Chicago, and right here in the nation's capital.
People jumped on the hoods of 3 U.S. Secret Service vehicles, smashing windows, flattening tires, plus spray painting anti-Trump and police rhetoric. Officers with plastic shields and wooden batons forced protesters back. All to keep a wider perimeter around the White House grounds.
Somebody help him!
Several protesters washed out their eyes.
Are you okay? Do you need a spray?
Seemingly from some sort of chemical that was fired into the crowd. Today's protest started around 2:30 beside the U.S. Capitol reflecting pool. The crowd, easily topping 1,000, spoke their minds without turning to vandalism. During a press conference this afternoon, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser stated violence is not the answer.
I call upon our city and our nation to exercise great restraint, even while the president tries to divide us.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
This is an SUV. I believe it belongs to the media. What's a bit sobering is that we were parked on this block. And we moved the vehicle around 10:50 because things were getting out of control and we were concerned that something like this could happen.
We got a building that appears to be under construction on fire to the right, to my left, towards the White House. Things are getting worse and worse with each passing moment that goes by as far as this confrontation. You can see this fire right here. This looks pretty serious.
I tried to go in there to see real quick if there was a fire extinguisher. I called 911 and told them to get here now. This is, again, that professional office building. Sir, do you have any idea what happened here? I mean, presume an arson.
They just started vandalizing. They just started vandalizing.
And you're a security guard at this building.
Yes.
What do you make of this, sir?
Chaos. I get the bigger purpose, like what's going on, but it's too much, man. It's too much.
Thankfully, there was a fire extinguisher right by the door.
And you're holding the fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
Did you try putting it out?
Yeah, I mean, it was not a big deal, but I think the idea that somebody was just trying to set something ablaze at the Oval Room, which I don't know what the Oval Room has done to people, but it seems pretty pointless and needless to me, right?
People here feel the pain of his death to their bones. And so that is what we're seeing playing out tonight, and D.C. police are doing their best to maintain the peace, and we'll see how long this inches along. And I've heard a few protesters say we're coming back tomorrow.
Carl, kind of a dangerous scene playing out just behind us, unfortunately. We are trying to keep a safe distance, but this is the AFL-CIO building. I know that there's a lot of profanities on the graffiti, and we apologize for that, but you can see that protesters are inside this building. They have broken through several of the windows and doors. They are inside of this building and continuing to throw trash cans, what appears to be trash cans from the inside, and continuing to shatter more of those windows.
How many times are you guys gonna beat us, kill us like we're not like you, like I'm not like her? We have the same organs, we have the same eyes, we have the same nose. We are one people. All we want is justice. We just want to wake up in the morning and not worry about getting killed. Every day, African Americans are killed in this country, and these police officers get away with it. And is that justice? Is that fair? Is that freedom? Is this the country that we live in? The country that we work for?
We're going to send it back to you right now because the police are telling us to move, and of course we want to always abide by what the police are asking. We'll check back in with you guys in just a bit here, but definitely a bit of a chaotic scene here near the corner of 16th and I. But you did hear that those folks speak very eloquently about the pain that's being felt right now in the African American community.
I'm Kevin Lewis in Friendship Heights, where there is active looting going on both the Maryland and D.C. side. Last night there was some looting here, but minimal. Today there is at least a crowd of 100 people. Heavy police presence from both Montgomery County and D.C. police. I watched as a crowd, easily numbering 50, broke into a CVS pharmacy through a window. They then took out boxes of prescription medicine that includes painkillers.
Every single American should be outraged by the murder of George Floyd. However, smashed windows and looting are becoming a bigger story than the broken systems that got us here.
This isn't just one, incident. It's just 400 years of so much stuff.
I can hear a reporter coughing, so I'm imagining they deploy some sort of tear gas. They have these pepper bullets that they're shooting at people as well. Yeah, Tom, if you can hear us, please fill us in on what's going on out there.
Hey, Jonathan, sorry, a lot of tear gas in the air right here. I don't know what started it, to be honest, but you see all the police just moved up.
I am also taking swift and decisive action to protect our great capital, Washington, D.C. What happened in this city last night was a total disgrace. As we speak, I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property. We are putting everybody on warning. Our 7 o'clock curfew will be strictly enforced.
And with that, President Trump just declaring that there is going to be a much swifter action taken to clean up the streets, clear the streets of not necessarily the protesters, but some of the violence that we have seen afterwards with the looting and the arson and the destruction.
I am on the sidewalk of H Street, just north of Lafayette Square, which is just north of the White House. So essentially, these police you see right here, and they're advancing again. And now they're...
Gosh.
You see
that's a photographer.
That's
going on now.
A member of the press.
Now there's just a lot of violence erupting. Ben, back up, back up. All right, I don't know. Tear gas everywhere. We're going to get off to the side here.
We understand President Trump now is on the move somewhere. Not sure where he is going, but let's keep an eye on that as he's walking out.
Yeah, so it appears that he is going to St. John's. And let me just say, this is a spontaneous move by the president. It appears, we saw members of the White House press corps. It appears that not even they knew what was going to happen, what was going to follow that press conference.
Let's listen in.
We have a great country. That's my thoughts.
And I'm not sure if this was a photo op or this was just a stroll. I mean, I'm not sure what was going on here. But if Tom Rousey can hear us and he's got his mic open, maybe we could just listen. We can just listen for a second. And, hold on.
We have the greatest country in the world. Thank you very much, everybody. We're going to keep it nice and safe.
We don't care about no curfew. We don't care about none of that. We don't care what they have to say. They kill us, nothing's done. People show up with AR-15s, begging for a haircut, begging for stores to be open. But when we come out here and protest because a white man put his knee down on a black man and killed him in cold blood, and we come out here to protest that, this is what happens. That's why we out here. We're not going nowhere at all. We here. We here for as long as we can. We not running.
My main concern was making sure that everybody that was in this crowd that was supporting us actually got home safely, and that these police officers, no matter if we agree with them or not, that they got home safely as well. Because if we're going to actually move forward, we need to be better than them. We need to humanize them because we want them to humanize us. So because I want them to go home, because I respect them as human beings, because I respect them no matter if they're white, black, whatever, I just wanted everybody to just listen. Just listen.
Boiling over into now nightly events, protests often sparking riots, police departments strained. 24 states have called in the National Guard, and in the president's own city, Washington, D.C., his calls for law and order have meant little.
This is the reason that we have called in Atlanta and across this country for people to just take a step back, peacefully protest, and then please go home at 9 o'clock.
According to the Associated Press, the president berated state leaders on Monday in a call, saying most of you are weak. You have to arrest people, claiming they look like fools.
It is their responsibility to police their streets. They have the police power embedded in the Constitution. They have quite clearly, many of them, failed to do their job.
But across the country, the protests are growing in number and intensity. And as a result, more mayors, in hopes of quelling them, are instituting curfews too. And on top of obvious danger, there's a less visible one, but also of concern.
We're still in the middle of a pandemic. You who are out there peacefully protesting, again, if you're starting to get symptoms of COVID-19, please isolate.
And governors saying there has to be more to it than just rage.
It's not enough to come out and say, I'm angry, I'm frustrated. And you want what done? You need the answer.
But of course, here in Washington, D.C., which saw almost 100 arrests last night and plenty of damage, the mayor now changing the curfew, saying it will be 7 p.m. tonight as opposed to the 11 p.m. that they had last night, saying that people need to be part of the solution, not part of the destruction.
When he made it to St. John's, you can see he held up a Bible, made brief remarks there, and then had these pictures taken with staff and administration members. This all followed a fire being set at this church just last night. The Episcopal Diocese of Washington couldn't believe it.
The president just used a Bible, the most sacred text of the Judeo-Christian tradition, and one of the churches of my diocese, without permission, as a backdrop for a message antithetical to the teachings of Jesus and everything that our churches stand for. And to do so, as you just said, he sanctioned the use of tear gas by police officers in riot gear to clear the churchyard. I am outraged.
Not exactly the reaction he was thinking he was going to get. The fire was contained to a nursery in the parish hall, and no historical artifacts were damaged.
Begin with a breaking news alert.
It's 5 a.m. and breaking right now on Good Morning Washington. A standoff is ongoing in the district. Protesters boxed in by police took refuge inside a stranger's home. What we're hearing from inside this morning.
Around 8:30 or 9:30, we are in this curfew right now. Police corralled large groups of protesters using different tactics, and we're actually in front of a house. A man named Rahul, he let in protesters into his home. He tells me about 70 people are inside, and we have him and everyone who's inside on video chat right now. So we do want to talk and see what this experience is like. I hope that you guys at home are able to see this. But Rahul, just first talk to me. Why did you open your doors and let these protesters inside?
Yeah, Kristen, I just want to first say that the souls behind me are amazing. They have put up a fight in peaceful protest and civil disobedience. And I was outside on the stoop of my steps at around 8:30, and it was just peaceful gathering. The police had blocked everybody in, pinned them into the one-way street of Swan. Still remained pretty calm until about 8:45. I went downstairs to open up the back gate to let a couple people out because they were trapped in. And when I come out to the front, I heard screaming, some pepper spray. My eyes started burning, and I just flung open the door, and all these people started to come in.
At some point, the cops lined up with riot gear, with their shields, and they just started pushing and pepper spraying. I got pushed down. Somebody just picked me up, and we were swooped right into Rahul's house, and we've been here safely recovering. We're looking for peace. We're looking for justice. People were murdered this week, and we're out here protesting. We knew full well that we might be tear gas, and we still went on out there anyway because it matters. Black lives, it matters. Our visibility matters. Our voices matter.
hear you guys.
Well, you saw this moment happen live right here on ABC 7 News. Remember this? Attacking a news crew that was just sitting up on the fence right there. They're from Australia, and they were also broadcasting live at the moment that happened. They were struck by U.S. Park police officers as they were trying to clear out Lafayette Park on orders from Attorney General William Barr. Now the country's prime minister wants an investigation. The reporter was hit with a police baton as she was running away, and her photojournalist was hit in the stomach with a shield. Not once were they asked, "You need to go." ABC 7 spoke with that reporter, Amelia Brace, today.
All of a sudden, with no warning, there was rubber bullets being pelted into the crowd, and that line of police just surged forward at a speed that was kind of undescribable. There was no possibility of getting out of the way, and everyone who crossed paths with them was getting quite brutally attacked.
Now, both journalists were back at work today. ABC 7 contacted U.S. Park Police about the assault. We have yet to receive a response from them.
Right now, protesters are attempting to remove Confederate Army General Albert Pike's statue from Judiciary Square. Just moments ago, we saw them get a little bit of a movement there, but they've been trying now for about 30 minutes. Police are in the area. They're surrounding this area. This is actually right next to the police headquarters and the courthouse. Removing the statue, and there you have it. They just removed the statue. They just successfully removed Albert Pike's statue here at Judiciary Square on Juneteenth. So you can see the protesters surrounding the statue as it goes up in flames. What kind of satisfaction are you getting from this?
Satisfaction that pieces of history that shouldn't be around are no longer around, and they're coming down.
Are you a D.C. native?
I live in D.C. now, but no, I'm not a D.C. native.
Do you know the history of this statue?
No, we didn't know it was here. So I ride my bike up and down the street every single day. Never knew it was a Confederate statue here. Never knew.
How have you been recognizing this Juneteenth?
At the White House.
Protesting?
Yes.
How did you find out about this? Through social media?
Oh, I just knew. To be quite honest, I just knew. I live here. Like, I'm on my bike. I've been here since the first protest to the day. So it's no surprise.
The whole point of this, with these hundreds of protesters out here, is to make as much noise as possible so that the folks at the Republican National Convention can hear them, can hear their voice, and can hear what they have to say. And I got to point out a couple of things to you. Not only is there amazing go-go music on a moving flatbed, but there's also, Ryan, if he could show us over here, there's a party bus, and on both the front and the back side of the bus are basically there's a basketball net that's set up. Ryan, let's go back here to the back real quick. The other thing that I love about here is that they basically ask people to bring whatever they want. Bullhorns, pots and pans, whatever, to make noise. Now, earlier tonight, we talked with folks about this night of noise. Take a look.
These young people are not playing, and I love it. I just love the vibe of it.
We have to respect everybody's tactics. They're basically trying to make all the noise as possible so they can hear it in the White House. It's a good thing to voice protest. I think it's revitalized, and I think it's needed. I think it shows unity.
It makes me feel good, and it also saddens me at the same time. It saddens me because we have to come out here to do this because so many of us are losing our lives.
We're tired of seeing blood on the streets of our brothers, cousins, aunts, uncles, babies, kids.
They say that the White House is soundproof. We want enough people out here to break the glass.
And we're back live here, moving with this caravan, this half party, half sort of festival-like feeling, half defiant protest. And it continues to go down 14th Street toward Constitution, and we'll continue to follow it as we report later for the 11 o'clock news. Back to you guys.
Protesters also gathered at the Supreme Court, where one of the president's bids to overturn the election was rejected. ABC 7's Kevin Lewis continues our team coverage right now near the Supreme Court. And Kevin, I know you had some tense moments out there earlier. Please describe what happened.
Right, Carl. We're reporting 2 blocks away here on East Capitol Street because some members of the crowd did become very hostile towards us. There are still people in front of the Supreme Court at this hour. Overall, most of these protesters believe that the 2020 presidential election belongs to President Donald Trump and not President-elect Joe Biden. Today's crowd was pale in comparison to the pro-Trump rally held back on November 14th, also here in the district. After we gathered video of the protest for around 30 minutes, 4 or 5 people started shouting fake news at me and an ABC7 photographer. Within minutes, we were surrounded by a large group. They hurled insults and expletives and demanded that we immediately leave the area. One woman shouted, "How can you sleep at night?" One man yelled through a bullhorn while placing it directly against my right ear. Here is more of what we witnessed. Now, I should note that the majority of this crowd did not act aggressively towards us. In fact, several people came up, introduced themselves, and had nice things to say. But as I have learned over the years, it only takes a few people to turn something peaceful upside down. This one of several pop-up fights we've witnessed throughout the evening on the streets of D.C. Proud Boys heavily visible among the pro-President Trump crowd. Antifa and Black Lives Matter making up a sizable percentage of the anti-Trump crowd. The Capitol Hilton on 16th Street Northwest quickly became ground zero. There, Trump supporters belted out the national anthem and Christmas carols. Counter-protesters shouted back, "Whose streets? Our streets." There have been multiple arrests throughout the evening. D.C. police assisted this female officer as she limped her way outside of the counter-protest zone. The officer appeared to have tears in her eyes. Around 8 p.m., Trump supporters surrounded this car at Thomas Circle, accusing the driver and front seat passenger of being liberals because they were wearing masks inside the vehicle.
Did you get that hat on QVC?
2 hours earlier, this group harassed these Trump supporters, hurling insults and knocking hats off their heads. Outgoing D.C. Police Chief Peter Newsham made an appearance in the protest zone, taking questions on a night that has few answers.